Yeah, so about skills in Division. I think the skills in Division are way too strong. You rely on your skills so hard in the game. I think skills should be, they should be, like, you should use them. They should be good to use, but they should not be as strong as they are. Like for example, smart cover, you gain so much damage resistance, and on top of that you get damage buff, and you don't even need to stay in the cover. You can just take cover quick and go out, and you have the buff for 5 seconds. Then you just quick tap it again and you keep going. I just think that's a bit too strong. The skills should be used, but they should not, like, you should not depend on them this much that you currently do in the game. And for the smart cover, there's no, you can't do anything. If someone's using a smart cover, the only thing you can do is use smart cover yourself and use a trapper on it. But I don't really think that's a good solution to deal with it. I think if it's gonna be that strong, you need to have something else so you actually can outplay it another way than just putting another trapper on it. And the sticky bomb flash is something I think is too strong as well. Basically, the radius are just crazy. Like, it's so hard to not get hit by a sticky flash. Even though if you behind cover, you behind something, like, the radius is just too big and you get affected, and it's 10 seconds. And if you play against like multiple groups, like I usually do, then you will get sticky flashed all the time. And every time it's 10 seconds. Because in the game there's no DR. So you can basically, even if it's only 4 versus 4, you can have sticky flash up all the time if you just spam triage and have a few sticky flash, maybe 2. I think a way to fix that would either to be to decrease it, or just add a DR, diminishing return, like every other game that have skills like this. If you just look at World of Warcraft, for example, like the first time you would get 10 seconds sticky flash, the next time it would be 5, maybe next time 2.5, and after that you will actually be immune for a certain amount of time. I think they should add something like that. And then we have the shock turrets. I don't really think they are a big problem, as long as it's a fair fight, 4 against 4, or as long as you are not heavily outnumbered. I think it's quite easy to deal with. However, I think they are very cheap, and since you can get so high skill power these days, even with the nerf they got more HP, so you basically have to focus fire them together. And if you're playing solo against 4 players and they have 2 shock turrets, you can't really deal with it. That's the thing. Like, if they actually would balance the skills, it would be a lot better for solo players. And I talked about triage, and I think triage plus self-aid heal with overdose mode is just completely broken. You should not be able to heal. You could fix this with 2 ways, I think. Either you fix the heals, you actually can only heal once, not like 5-6 times that you can do at the moment. I think that would be the best solution, or you could just fix triage so it only works once. But I think making self-aid heal only heal once would be the best solution. Because at the moment you almost always have to have a self-aid heal as your skill. I mean, sure, if you have a tactician and you're playing a squad, you don't really have to have a self-aid heal. But I mean, 95% of the players play with self-aid heal just because it's so strong. And I think that's sad with the RPG. You should be able to go whatever skill. You should not be so forced to use the self-aid heal. That's why I want to see the self-aid heal get nerfed and not the triage, because then you could use some other skills and it will open up for more builds and playstyles. That's what I think, that's what I would like from an RPG. I would like to do as much different build as possible. But in general, I want to see nerfs on the skills. And of course, if we nerf the skills, we have to rebalance. They have to rebalance the NPCs. They lower all the skills in the game, smart cover, pulse, and everything like that. And of course, if they do that, they have to lower the NPCs, which I think is good, because currently, as most of you guys know, NPCs hit way too hard and they have way too much HP. So if they would keep it this way and just add more DLCs with higher gear score, what would the end result be? It would just be, I mean, in the end, the NPC, like, it would just be crazy. They need to rebalance it. and start kind of fresh. So nerfing down the skills and rebalance all this makes all the value lower. It's gonna make it a lot better in my opinion. Especially for people playing solo. Maybe solo could be actually viable again. Because you will not depend as much on your skills. Because at the moment, especially in PvP, I'm gonna focus most on PvP here. But in PvP, the current meta is just all about crowd control. There's sticky flash, shock turrets, predator, sticky bomb, explosive and fireballs with reclaimer and all that. And in my opinion, that's not really too fun because it's too much crowd control that you really can't do anything about. The only real solution against everything is self-aid heal with triage. But if you play solo, you can't really use triage. And sure, the game it's supposed to be a squad game, right? But when the game actually came out, it was actually a lot viable to play solo, especially when you farmed. But even in PvP, because people didn't really knew about all the sticky flash and all the OP crowd control. Yeah, and then we have the signature skills, which I think don't belong in PvP as well. For example, people would use the defensive link just to take a supply drop or try to cut the rope. Of course you can play around that by just shooting him or tossing a grenade, a regular frag grenade, and that would interrupt it. But still, I think it's silly, because if you use it, if you have a group, you can just play around it, just toss heals and block for him and kill the other groups. So what I think that they should do is, so if a player shoot another player that have the defensive link, it will just go through like regular. But if NPCs shoot him, the NPCs will deal less damage, but a regular player would deal the same damage as if he didn't have it. And the same goes with the damage link. You would only gain extra crit chance and crit damage against NPCs. And then we have the consumables like explosive and fire bullets. I think they should only work against NPCs as well. I don't really think that kind of crowd control belongs in PvP. And this DLC, they decided to add Reclaimer to the PvP, so it's even way worse. I think Reclaimer is a really nice set for PvE. However, for PvP, it's the dumbest shit I ever seen. Like, I never thought that the PvP would ever get worse in this DLC, because they said like this: yeah, we listen to you, we know that you don't like fire bullets and explosives, so we're gonna nerf them. And we see that they nerfed them, and they added Reclaimers. So basically you can have explosive or fire bullets on all the time as long as you abuse triage. And fire bullets you can actually play around if you play in a squad, but I still think it's silly that you can have it on all the time, because you just go into self-aid heal and it disappears. But the biggest problem with Reclaimer is that people use assault rifle or SMGs, and they use explosive bullets. And explosive bullets, if you didn't know, they actually stagger you. Like, if it's one or two that just shooting one guy with assault rifle or SMG, you will not be able to move. And even if you use the blue link, you will still get staggered. And it doesn't matter really if you have final measure, because you can survive it, because it doesn't matter, because you will still get stunned and staggered, so you can't really move or do anything. And there's no outplay against it. Like, what can you do? There's nothing. You can't use blue link, you can't go final measure. Like, you will, whatever you do, you will still get stunned. Sure, you could try to run away, but that's not gonna be a solution every time. And I think in a game like this, you should be able to counter build everything. Like, either you're gonna be able to do a gear build that's gonna help you against it, or you're gonna be able to, or you should be able to spec other skills so you actually don't have to care about it, or at least you reduce the effectiveness of their explosive bullets. But there's nothing like that at the moment. And people say that 1.1, when Sentry came out, was the worst PvP we ever had, but I don't really agree on that, because the current state of the PvP is the worst it's ever been. It's smart cover maxed with sticky flash and Reclaimer spamming explosive bullets so we can't move or do anything, and it's on every damn server. In 1.1, sure, it was quite broken, the damage. Skills didn't really matter too much. Like, if you had smart cover, you had pulse, sticky flash, or whatever, you could kill people so fast anyway, so the skills didn't have too much impact. They did have impact though, but they didn't have as much impact as they have at the moment. That's why I would like to see a rebalance, to nerf the skills and actually make the game a shooter again, instead of this crowd control meta that we currently have. And also in 1.1, like all the patches before they actually added 10% armor to 75 was a lot better in my opinion as well, because skills like critical save and on the move would be a lot more effective. Sure, critical save works the same at the moment, but since they added armor, 10% more armor, the 40% damage resistance you get is not gonna be as good as it used to be, because you already have a lot more armor. And I think using your medkits perfect should give you an advantage like it used to do. But sure, you still get a little boost, but it's not even close to what it used to be. And the same if you look at on the move, it's not even possible to use on the move anymore in PvP, because on the move you actually have to kill them. If you just kill them so they are down in a down state, you will not get the buff. So when you get them down, you have to kill them again. And since people are so tanky, you will have to like use half or a full magazine, shoot them in the head to just grant on the move. And I think those two skills in particular, or talents, were really good, because they actually added some skill cap to the game. And I feel like the only thing the game have done since that, they have just take away all the skill caps in the game, making it so easy in PvP. Like anyone could go into PvP this day and just kill people. Just have Reclaimer and just pop explosive with assault rifle SMG and you will wreck people. And I don't like when a game is like that. It should require some skill, and they are going away more and more from that. And as I talked on the move, I think another change that they need to do is you should not be able to rest in PvP. Yeah, you heard me, you should not be able to rest people in PvP. You wanna know why? The meta that's at the moment is sentry shotgun, right? And what was the meta before? It was SMG. What do those weapon types have in common? They are both super close combat weapons that you use in close combat. And why are they so good? It's because it's easy to close the gap for the first, but even when you are that close, you can just, if you kill someone, if you get them down, you can actually finish them off instantly. If you sit with a sniper, LMG or assault rifle further behind, maybe you get them down, but you will not be able to actually finish them, because their teammate will be able to rest them. And I think, like, I've been playing a bit of LMG and I've noticed that a lot. I actually managed to kill them, but then they just go and rest each other. And I think if they would change that, LMGs, especially LMGs, would be better, and snipers and assault rifle. And I think that would be good, so maybe we could get a bigger variation with weapons, because that's one big reason why SMGs and shotguns are so effective. Then there's another thing I want to talk about. It's the MYA. It's just crazy how good this semi-automatic sniper is compared to all the other snipers. Sure, they nerfed it a bit, but I think the damage is just way too high, especially now with the Deadeye set. Or just in general, you can see people running with it and just hip firing. That's not how a sniper should work. You should not be able to do that. You should not be able to just run and hip fire. And I'm pretty sure that was not the intent with Deadeye, but that's how people play with it these days. So I think the MYA needs a nerf, because bolt action should be, I think that should be the sniper to go to if you have the aim, but that's not how it is at the moment. Like MYA it's just still too strong. So I think they should nerf the damage a bit, or maybe something else. Because I would like to see the game give bolt action some love actually. Because not everyone, but 9 out of 10 are using MYA. For a very good reason as well. And if they would rebalance all the skill and make the NPCs a bit weaker, I think they should scale, they should fix the scaling with firearms, stamina and electronics. Because at the moment it's not really worth to get firearms. If you have a possibility to get stamina or electronics, you should rather go that. The only thing you need with firearms is to get the cap for like brutal, like 2,800 something. Then you just put everything in stamina or electronics. I think the best stat in the game should be firearms. Or not the best, it should be, I think that firearms should scale a lot better. So people actually could go more damage, because at the moment everyone just focus on toughness. because they need to do that, of course, but if the scaling would be better, then maybe some people would actually go more firearms to sacrifice some toughness. And if they would rebalance the skills in the game and the NPCs, you could actually lower your toughness of it. But at the moment you need to have it super high and use smart cover with max to even have a chance. But to fix the skills and everything, I think what they need to do, what they should have done from the beginning, is to actually balance the game differently in PvP and PvE. Because that's why we have a lot of problems. Like, for example, I think smart cover, at the moment you really need to use a full max smart cover, and the effects are really nice in PvE, but I think in PvP, however, it's just too strong. It's the same with Reclaimer set. It's a really good set for PvE, I really like the idea, but it doesn't belong in PvP. It doesn't. So I think that's something they should do, because that would improve the game a lot. And as I'm talking about balancing PvP and PvE differently, something they have to do as well is to balance the game differently on PC and console. For example, the 20% damage buff that they recently added. I don't play on console myself and I don't really watch it too much, but I heard and I realized that killing people on console are a bit harder than on PC, because it's harder to control a joystick than a mouse. So the damage buff was most likely needed for console. However, on PC I don't really think it was needed at all. I was one-tapping people before the 20% damage buff, and I always just feel like people with bad builds do a sick ton of damage as well. Like, they don't even have to build smart, you will still do insane amount of damage, especially with the shotguns now. Like, the damage people do with a shotgun now is just insane. And something I always wanted, I've been talking about a lot since a lot of people, like, since it's so hard in Dark Zone to get good PvP, like, a lot of the times when I go into the Dark Zone and I just want a PvP, right? Because if I would farm, I would do the 4 horsemen. So I try to go into Dark Zone and PvP. And I join, and my other friend join, and I'm on a good server, and he joins, and we get server swap to an empty server. And then we try to swap again, and it's only dead servers, and then we find a server with players, and we kill them once or twice, 2-3 groups, and then they leave the server. Because apparently they just wanna farm. So then we have to keep swapping, and even those times we get servers, people are gonna run away, even though we are the rogues, people just don't wanna PvP. And it's just a running simulator swapping server all the time. There's not really too much action. However, if they added some kind of structured PvP, or some area that actually people that wanted to PvP could join, that would not be a problem, because then we could just queue up that battleground arena or PvP Dark Zone only, and actually just spend time on having fun and just PvPing. So I think that would be something really nice for the game, in my opinion. And the people that actually wanna only PvE in Dark Zone would be able to do that. Because Dark Zone is really cool. And that's the only place where you actually can go in solo and meet other players and team up. So I understand, like, some people just want a PvE insider, but that's not you can't really do that at the moment. And with all this, to make the game balanced, they would need to add PTRs, like servers before the patch or DLC is released, so they actually can test it with more people. Like, just invite the people that play this game all day long. There's so many people that dedicate so much time to this game and knows a lot, that actually could test it, and so things are not fucked up. I mean, I know a lot of things that they've released, that even before it was released I knew it would be messed up. So I think a PTR would be really nice. And something else I would like to see, as I'm a PvP player, I mean, if Arena comes then we probably don't need it, but there's stats for rogue kills, items extract in Dark Zone and stuff like that, but there's not really a stat for rogues. Like the only thing, like most of the time, like I'm a PvP player. I go into Dark Zone to PvP 90% of the times, probably more. And there's really not a stat for us to look for. I think agent kills would be a nice stat to add, to at least have something to look at, because in my opinion, agent kills are harder to get than rogue kills. In my opinion, especially when, I think that's true when you PvP like me. Since I always man up and fight, I don't really try to get rid of the timer. I just PvP because I think it's fun. I don't really care if I die as long as I'm having fun. So I think agent kill would be pretty interesting. And something I would like to see is if you manage to clear a manhunt, like how many kills did you have, and stats like that. And something else I would like to see they add is gear loadouts. I think it's pretty silly that a game like this doesn't really have gear loadouts with all the sets. But I understand kinda why they didn't add it, because people could probably swap it too fast. For example, you play against a group and you see, oh, they have no final measure, and then they swap to their sticky bomb build, for example. But then maybe they could add something that would time consume it. Maybe you can't change it in Dark Zone, you actually have to be in the base, and it would take like 10 seconds or something to just swap. But just something like that, because it's so annoying to swap gears. Like I try a lot of builds and it just takes so much time just to get it right. And when we are talking about gear, I think they need to rebalance the gears as well. At the moment, Sentry is the best set for damage for everything. For LMGs, assault rifle, for snipers, SMGs. I think maybe it's not completely the best, but it's super good. Like 5-piece Sentry Savage will be good for every weapon type in the game, just because of the headshot damage. As long as you have a good aim and can hit a lot of headshots, Sentry is always gonna be super strong if you compare to other sets. I think the Alpha Bridge set is a really cool idea, but in my opinion, like I want to use it for a shotgun, for example, but do I really have 2 shotguns and I want to do some like a Dark Zone? It's not gonna be PvP all the time, so then if I want a PvE, it's gonna be a struggle. I think the Alpha Bridge set is nice, but you should be able to use 2 different weapons, in my opinion. Of course, they have to look at the skill, so if you use a shotgun, for example, you should not be able to get skilled or cool-headed. But that's something they could do with coding, right? But yeah, I think that's it. There's a few changes I would like to see. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do another video as well for PvE. We will see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See ya.